The Mindbuzz, now partnered with My Grito Industries.
3, 2, 1. Johnny Murillo.
What's up? Welcome to... No, I'm not. Actually, this is your host. This is your podcast. I'm welcoming myself to the Mindbuzz. What's going on, brother? Thank you.
Welcome, Johnny. Thanks for coming out and doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man. I know. We've been talking about it for a while, and we got it locked in. I love your system, bud. Your system kept me in check. And I'm like, when things are coming up, I'd look at my calendar. Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to go to Chino. So you're very organized, your whole thing. So I loved it, yes. And because of that, I'm here, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Thank you. It's all about that relationship that you build between, like, I know a lot of stuff that we do online through emails and stuff, but it's just that little extra touch that somebody needs.
And I got to get over myself because you use a calendar. Is it Calendly? Calendly, right? And I've been wanting to switch to that because I get different meetings, and I've left a couple people hanging because I forgot, right? And so when they send me a Google link, it'll be on my Google Calendar, but then I use my phone, so it's on my phone and Mac. Mm-hmm. If I don't do both, it's like, okay, I'm going to miss something. I've done that. So I'm thinking I need to get myself where I can, let someone pick and so on. So when your system, I have, and other people have it too. Mm-hmm. And I always gives that invitation. Do you want to do this too? And I say, no, I don't know if it'll work for me, but at this point, I think I need to.
There's a point to where you have to sit down and think about all the different stuff that you do and how busy you are. Yeah. And sometimes technology helps out with that, and Calendly helps out with that.
What happens if you have to cancel something? You just say
so. Hey. Yeah, so you can cancel something, or I can cancel it, or you can reschedule. And when you reschedule, it takes you back into the calendar, and you can So when you reschedule that, it only gives you the available options that we set up. Originally, right? Oh, yeah. So you choose the day that you want to reschedule, and then it sends me an email. So it goes both ways.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, I need to figure that out because I know how sometimes things pop up. Like now, we're looking at some things in Phoenix.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm heading out there next week, and so. But I thought, what if I would have had some stuff? I have to look through my calendars now because I already told the guy, I'll be there Wednesday. So now I'm like, oh crap!
So you got to go out for Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday. I'll probably leave Tuesday night. And then be there Wednesday, come back Wednesday night, so.
Johnny Murillo from Chicano Hollywood.
Johnny Murillo. Yeah, Chicano Hollywood, yeah. Or Murillo, depending who it is, If it's Raza, Johnny Murillo. If it's non-Raza, John Murillo.
There we go. So how would a No Sabo kid say that? Because I'm a little bit of both. I know some Spanish.
Yeah, just whatever. If you can retroflex the R, which honestly you don't know. When you're doing that, so Murillo, but you don't. It's not actually a retroflex like perro. Mm-hmm. It's more one R only, so it'd be Murillo. So probably Mudio would be the best way to say it if you wanted to, or just say Murillo. Or Mendivi, that's my other name. Or Otto, that's my other name.
Otto?
Mexicans, bro, we have all kinds of names, so we can pick from any
But we have to learn. We have to learn what it is. You know what I mean? It's not. I always think that I'm like, because my last name is Bobadilla, and it's hard sometimes, like Bobadillo, And I'm like, no, you have to take your time and think to learn, right? The correct way and the way that we want to be represented. And
great point. Yeah. Great point. Yeah. And sometimes I think I misrepresent myself. Just say it this way. Great point. Because I tell people all the time, especially right now, Raza, our people, I said, look, right now and this time, it's not like it was back in the day, right, where they had to change their last names and change all that and pretend they were white. Right now, the biggest asset that our people have right now is their last name and their skin color. So to me, we have to capitalize on that. Whoa. And I tell people we're in the beginning of a Chicano Renaissance. And, during the actual historical Renaissance, it was arts, it was business, it was different things that were going on that were launching, and we're in the beginning of that. So we have podcasters, we have filmmakers, we have actors, we have, creative businesses. Like right now, I'm diving big into AI. Now, I'm not going to say how that big I'm following Instagram accounts. So I'm following Instagram accounts, but I'm trying to set some time, and with my schedule, at the end of April, I'll be in Portland for a week, basically doing grandpa duty, right? So I'm gonna go take care of our granddaughter, while my kids, they go and they have this retreats, right? So we're gonna go. So while I'm there and while she's taking a nap or at school, I'm gonna dive into all these AI accounts because that's a thing, and I don't want our community to be behind again. We're always behind. So I'm like, okay, AI's a thing. Como se, I'm gonna say AI. Como I say with the Mexican accent, right? The Spanish accent. Oh, I don't, so I'm diving into it now. So like, even while I'm gonna say while I'm driving, but when I'm in red lights, I'm looking at IG accounts. I'm like, okay, I want to save that, because I'm hearing, AI. So we have to stay on top of it. So we are in the beginning of a Chicano Renaissance. You guys are on the cutting edge of it with podcasting, and now what? ¿Cómo se llama? El grito? My grito. So now with my grito, you're partnering up. So I think the stronger we're getting as we're connecting, we're not doing solo anymore. We're not all trying to walk this little crazy. We're all, I tell people, we're all going to the top. So let's do it together. Let's lock arms together. It's not like a single like it used to be. So you partnering with that group is awesome because now you're going to get elevated. Yeah. All the stuff that we're doing, we have to do it together so we can get elevated, And
I agree because I feel like in other cultures, certain cultures in particular, like I've seen like even the migration, some of them come, they work, they make all this money and they send that money to bring more people.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And once they get here, they house them, they feed them, and then they help them open their
businesses. Oh man,
yeah.
And it's just like helping. And I think with Latinos, we've come to this country and we've forgotten about unity or before, you know what I mean? And it's like it's so important to have a community and to be backed up and to support each other, because if we don't, then
that's a great point, because other cultures, I when I was young, I'm from San Jose, right? So I remember when at the end of the Vietnam War, then there was what we probably non-politically correct would say the boat people, right? There was a big migration of Vietnamese, right? Yeah. So I was a kid, I was in the barrio. We were. I tell people I was a cholo, but I wasn't a very good one. But we were there doing the cholo thing, right? So we see all these Vietnamese families coming because of what happened in the war and all that. So now they're coming to San Jose. We're laughing at them because they're packing into one house. And, look at how they live all crazy like that. They all stay in one house, and they're sleeping on the floor, 20 families or 20 people in one house, and we're laughing at that. But now they all own 20 houses each, They did exactly that. They came in, they helped each other out, they gave each other work. They tapped into an economic ecosystem. They created an ecosystem, and they kept the money within themselves. The Jewish community, part of the business principles. They create an ecosystem, economic ecosystem. They hire within each other. They always make sure that one of theirs has first shot at the bid. And if it doesn't work, they're always open to outside, but they do that. Jewish community does it. The Vietnamese community back that I saw personally did that. Latinos haven't been able to really do that yet.
Why do you think that is?
We're hard workers, no doubt. We trailblaze. We're pioneers. If you're going to see us on a street corner, we're not begging. We have, we're selling something, socks, oranges, whatever. So we're hard workers. But there's no doubt that within our community, we've had to scrape it through. We've had to scrap it out. We've had to really build. When the migrant workers were coming across, my grandfather came across back in the day, right? They could just walk across the border. It wasn't all crazy. They just passed them over, right? So they all migrated across, and they got their jobs. They were in the farms. All my family was, in the cherry orchards of San Jose, strawberries, all that kind of stuff. They've been down here. They were all over the place, right? They migrated. That's what they did. Boom, boom, boom. And when they were the braceros, right? They were coming across. So part of the whole field during the war and all that. My grandfather went to, he was drafted. He went to the war. They came and got him, basically. They came to the field and they said, you want to, either join the army or we're going to send you back. So he joined the army. So that story's hilarious.
I didn't even know that they did that. That is wild.
Oh, no.
Man. And that's World War II?
World War II, yeah.
Whoa.
The recruiters would show up on the fields and say, we're going to send you back or you sign up. So they would sign up, and then they would tell them, well, you can get your citizenship. So a lot of our guys would sign up, and they would become citizens.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't more of like a question like, hey, do you want to join the service?
They didn't give them a lot of choices.
Okay.
My grandpa, remember the stories they would tell us that they ran. They were like, no querían ir a la guerra. To them, like, they wasn't anything that they wanted to do. But, the whole, when you dig deep into it, the Mexican government already made a deal saying we're not gonna contest this, take them kind of thing. So a lot of our people, they signed up. They're proud. They were proud soldiers, and they're proud of what they did. And from there, my tios, my ninos, they were in Vietnam and so on. So my family has a real really proud military side of it. And so, but in all of that movement, then you had the Chicano movement, which you had farm workers that were here and had kids that were born here, like my mom, right? And then you still had migration coming. So then you had the competition between the ones that were here and then the other ones that were coming. And then it turned into it started splitting us again. Then we didn't want them. Close the door, because it was all about the jobs here.
Right.
And because this is just my opinion. Any historians out there, hey, I don't know, but it's my opinion. But when you're scraping to put bread on your table and you don't have this bigger picture understanding of the whole community, then of course the person next door to you, your neighbor, that you're working with, if they're competing with you, you're going to scrape it. And that's kind of what happened to us, where we're competing with each other. We're just trying to get our own. And that mentality went really deep, You can see it in the entertainment.
Well, yeah, it's built into the psychology right when you're coming over to this country, right? Or just, it's a human experience of fighting for what you want or fighting for what you need.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you have the farmer coming to you saying, I'm going to make you the foreman, but you have to fire these guys that are now also your second primos.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that means you're not making $2 an hour anymore. You're only going to go back to $150.
Yeah, you're not doing your job at that point.
Yeah. So then I say that because my grandfather was the foreman. Right. So he was a good man though. He'd help everybody out. But he was put in positions like that, and so he'd have to get in there and say, "Hey, get to work, or else I'm going to have to let you go." And I'm sorry about that. So he'd have to he was forced into a position of making management decisions against his own, vecinos, his own primos and all that. And they had to step up. Now, if they chose not to step up, yeah, okay, by rights, you're not working for it. But it still created this little, fissures in between our community, It has to heal, though. It has to heal. There has to be a point where we recognize our power. Right now, within the Latino community as a whole, from Florida to the U.S., East Coast to West Coast, we have, I guess, like $2.1 trillion buying power.
Whoa.
Our buying power is bigger than a lot of countries. If we can tap in and harness that and really, really, what we're trying to do at Chicano Hollywood is trying to build this ecosystem so that we can help each other out. Now, I'm a film producer, so I immediately want to say, yeah, let's get more content, because the big cry is our voice and representation and all that, right?
Yeah.
If we don't do something about it ourselves, we're going to just keep crying. Hollywood is not in a hurry to do anything for us because it's all about money. And frankly, they already have us. Fast and the Furious, that whole franchise. We're number one. We're the profit margins because we love cool movies, right? So they have us. They don't have to fight for us. We're already there.
So why single out Fast and the Furious?
Oh, because I was talking about it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Fast 10 is coming out. And, so they hit us up about helping them do some promotion on it.
Oh, really?
So I had that whole speech about it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's right there. Yeah, it's not way back there. It's right there. Fast 10 is coming out. So I'm plugging in Fast 10 right now. And Chicano Hollywood will hopefully do some content for it, So, but yeah, so that one, if you look at a movie like that or a franchise like that, I mean, it's about cars, hot people, hot action, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to watch that. And then, of course, you put Vin Diesel in there. Then you put Michelle Rodriguez. And we're like, okay, we got representation. Supposedly Vin Diesel's
Dwayne The Rock Johnson's in there.
Yeah. Well, Vin Diesel's supposed to be like Dominican, I think. I think his dad's Dominican. I heard that. Someone fact checked that for me, but
and who? Oh, Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I heard that he's Dominican. Somewhere his dad is Dominican or something like that.
He's got the height there. Maybe the height gives it away.
Got that cool voice too. My mother-in-law, man, that's her man. So yeah. So, but yeah, so we Hollywood for the most part because we didn't walk into this saying we're not being represented. We walked into this like, oh, that's cool, and we just enjoy it. So, but now we're at the point where we're noticing, reports are coming out. There's a report that just came out 2023 from UCLA about representation in Hollywood, and once again, we're down at the bottom. Latinos when it comes to how many movies are made, how many lead roles.
And when was this?
This one just came out about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
okay.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, and in there, what's noticeable is that there was an increase in lead roles for Latinos on streaming platforms. But when it came to major theatrical releases, we're down to the bottom again.
Oh, okay.
So here we're the ones that are buying most of the tickets, but we don't see ourselves there, So that's what has to change. There was a slight increase in streaming, though, which is great. We celebrate that. But if you dig deeper and you dig into Chicanos, we're really even further down. And that's where our mission is Chicano Hollywood. We want to kind of get where we're supposed to be. I tell people we were here first. There's no reason why we should be last. And I don't compete with other Latinos. I celebrate them at the top. I just want to get us up there.
That's part of your mission too, right? To work together to
big time.
Get to the top.
I tell people, I don't, Latinos, they can't compete with me. They can't compete with Chicano Hollywood because we're going to celebrate everything they do. So I don't care what they do. I don't care if they duplicate us. I don't care if they're doing it. We're going to celebrate it because our mission is to build a platform underneath the Chicano Latino community, not step on top. We're going to build underneath, and if we build it underneath and we rise it together, from music to TV to podcasts to movies to live events, all that, if we build underneath and as a voice, the Chicano voice, we actually take our place. That's what our mission is. We just need to get there, And I think it's working so far. I bet, the Renaissance is here. I'm going to make a T-shirt. Someone remind me to make a T-shirt that says Chicano Renaissance.
Oh, your timestamp here. We got a timestamp. You're going to make a T-shirt.
So for some of our listeners that don't know what Chicano Hollywood is or who it is or what you do for, Chicanos, can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, I could give a little history if you want. So I'm a producer. And actually, I was a pastor for 23 years, right? So that was my main thing. And then about 15 years now, we felt this direction to come here to Hollywood. And for what? I don't know. I was a Pentecostal pastor, so I used to preach against going to movies. I threw out my TV like 3 times, right? So it's like, that was always the thing. But then
the early 90s, right?
Oh, yeah, bro. Yeah. I went to Bible school in 85, and then up there until like the late 90s, I was hardcore.
Whoa.
I traveled the nation. Right? I had the RV. I'd do the revivals. That was me. I loved it. It was fun. I enjoyed it, My wife laughs at me now because once in a while I'll get on Instagram, there's some apostolic churches that are so wild, right? They're all in suits and they're just jumping around, and I'll just watch them and say, man, I miss that. I can never do it again. I would walk in there and they'd probably say, man, get the devils out of here, but I could never do it again. But I do. It was fun, So that was my background. If you go further back, I was raised in the barrio. Stepdad was caught up. My brothers were caught up. My older brother was a gang member of Cholo. My younger brother's a gang member of Cholo. They were good ones. I sucked at it. I tried it. I put on the uniform. I hung out with the homies. I stood up when I had to. But while they're like tattooing each other, I'm sneaking off to drama class. That's how that works. So yeah, I wasn't a very good one. So then we went into the church life, and then 15 years ago, we're here in Hollywood now, right? So here we are. And I'm learning how to produce. I was an actor. I didn't do anything big crazy, but I got some TV roles here and there. It's funny because they always cast me as an Italian mafia guy, but whatever, you know. I did a cop a couple times too, right? So so I did that, and that's how I learned. Though I would learn, I would look, I would just get on set, even as a background actor, and just say, "What are they doing?" Listen, look at their documentations whenever I can get my hands on them, ask questions, and I bug the crap out of people because I would say, "What does that mean? What are you doing?" And so it worked. Though I was able to learn the language, I was able to figure things out. And because of my background, in ministry, plus I was a businessman, so I had a construction company and all that. I knew how to handle people, right? So that evolved into here where we're at now. 2 years ago, one of my producing partners, a friend of mine, Jeff Reyes, he hits me up and he says, "Hey, can you turn this idea into a script?" And I looked at it was just a one-pager, bunch of thoughts. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I said, "But you guarantee me if I do this, you're going to produce this?" And he's like, "I guarantee we'll produce it." I said, "All right, cool." So it's called Horchata with Oat Milk. I'm hoping it comes out this summer, right? So I wrote the script, and we had Jerry Garcia in there, we had Concrete, we had Dunos, we had Anthony Fernandez, and a few others, right? Really fun Chicano actors, right? So we're on set, we're producing this movie, and I noticed there's Chicanos in front of the camera and Chicanos behind the camera. And man, we were having fun. It was a fun set. We're cracking up. At one of the dialogue meetings before we got to production, the director, LV, he's smoking a joint, and I have the script up on the wall, and he's smoking a joint, he puffs it, and it's like all this, weed smoke in front of the script. And I said, "Wow, that looks cool." I said, "Bro, do it again. And I made him do it like 7 times. I can't. I said, no, I need a big one. Right? So I finally got the shot, and I sent that picture to my daughter. She was at Azusa Film School, right, in Azusa Pacific. And I said, "Check this out. I'm with Chicano Hollywood." And that's where it started, just as a joke, just because the homie was smoking a joint, and I just put them together. That's where Chicano Hollywood started, right? Now we're on set. Now I have in front of the camera, behind the camera, we have Chicanos, and not just Mexican-American. I mean like Chicano boys. So Guatemalan, there was El Salvadorian, it was all of us. All of us that are raised in the same barrios, right? So we're there, and we're celebrating each other. And so I created, I saw that, and I thought, there's something here. So I created the socials, got the website, the domain names actually, then just started building it, trademarked the name. I did all that stuff. And all I did was shout people out, just people that I knew. Shout out to so-and-so, they just did a commercial. Shout out to so-and-so, they just did makeup on a music video. Just shout them out. And then it just started growing little by little. And between March 11th, 2021 to August 5th, I saw this increase. But I wasn't paying too much attention, especially I would connect from IG to Facebook, and I wasn't getting on Facebook at all. Just IG. And right around August 5th, I thought, well, let me check it out. So I saw on my daughter mentioned, she goes, "You have like 2,500 followers now." I said, "Really? Oh, that's cool, right?" So I checked it out. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." Then I said, "Let me check Facebook." So I look at Facebook, we're like 12,000. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I got 12. I'm an influencer. I'm gonna do a TikTok dance now, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But I saw that the comments on Facebook, they were saying stuff like, "We need more Chicano sitcoms. We need more Chicano movies. How come we don't have Chicano lead actors?" I mean, they're really asking for it. So I'm like, "Oh man, this is really interesting." So I saw that Facebook is what I said, that's the audience. But on Instagram, it was a smaller group, but that was the players. Those are the directors, the producers, the showrunners. And then I started having people from the studio level that were hitting me up saying, "Hey man, I love this. We finally have our own platform. Thank you for doing this. Our Chicanos, we need a live ride." These are guys that were showrunners for big shows and stuff like that, and directors, and they're hitting me up. I'm like, "Man, so this is really cool." So they started following. So now it's evolved to where it's at now. Total on Instagram now we have like about close to 14,000. On IG we have like close to almost 36,000, something like 37,000. And it's growing. TikTok, and I don't do TikTok dances. We have like 5,000, right? So, but it's building, and what it was is just an excitement because there was an expression of we finally have a voice. Like we weren't underneath the umbrella of other voices. Like in Hollywood, there's a big voice called the Latinx voice, which is a cool voice. I respect it. But it wasn't fully representative of the Chicano voice. It's a different type of voice. And even when you look at the Pew Research, it was like 2 to 3% of Latinos across America didn't even know or connect with the Latinx voice. But they were the loudest, and they're the ones that were getting greenlit. None of our stuff was getting greenlit. So why? Well, because the litmus test or the gatekeepers were like, "No, we like the Latinx voice, but that's not us, though." And then they get mad because all their shows were getting canceled. you know, and like, wow, how come Latinos aren't supporting this? Well, because you're not creating content that our people connect with. So it kind of caused this issue. So I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? How are we going to elevate our voice? So we started building, and, you know, we just said, well, heck, let's just start our own streaming platform. So we did. So we have a streaming platform now. We have a Chicano Netflix. That's what people call it. It's like a Chicano Netflix.
Really?
Yeah. And it's called, if you go to your app store, Chicano Hollywood, put that in there. And you'll see it. And so right now I have licensed content on there from Chicano creators, Latino creators, right? So we have movies on there. We have documentaries. We have some other digital content on there. So we're building it up. You know, this summer I'm hoping the plan right now is to shoot 4 docuseries. That one would be like a court show. The other would be a docuseries on a cute little influencer family, Chicano family, and stuff like that. So we're putting all those together. So we're gonna start putting original content on there. That's ours that we produce. You know, so our mission is when we produce something, we produce an original. It'll be our stories and our voice with our faces.
And is it going to be exclusive to Chicano Hollywood, your streaming platform?
No, if someone brings me their content,
right,
it's never exclusive because I'm like, exploit it to the world, make some money if you can, because you're not going to make that much with us right now. Well, you will. We're growing, but I want them to do that. So we have podcasts on there too. So if you guys want to put it up,
whoa, okay.
We have podcasts on there. So
yeah,
but like if any of the stuff that we create originals at this point, because I have to create we need money. I will put it on our platform probably 30 to 60 days exclusive only to build our audience, and then we'll get it out to anyone else that wants to pick it up. So I can license it, you can license it throughout the world. You can license it on other streaming platforms if they want it, that kind of thing. So I will get us out, which that builds our brand too as a production company, Chicano Hollywood Productions. So we get it out.
So it's a production company as well.
Well, we have what it's called. It's Chicano Hollywood Enterprises. That's a corporation.
Okay.
And then we have several LLCs. We have digital media, which is our social media stuff. And then we have our originals, which is our productions. So then we have live events too. So it's a.
And you have your master class too.
And the master classes.
Whoa, yeah.
And what those are is just. I knew that if we don't create a bridge for our community, our kids, our people that have been dreaming about this, if it was like when I was a kid and I was, in the 8th grade play, still a homie, that's a different story, but I didn't tell anybody I was in that play because I would have got my butt kicked. Just put it that way, right? So I didn't tell me, my mom. No one knew I was in that play. But with the aspirations I had back then, like, man, it would be cool to go in Hollywood. I had no one in my life that would even understand how to do that. My grandma, when he turned 16, dropped out of high school and going to the warehouse or going to the cannery. That was the vision, right? So I wanted to create, with our master classes, a bridge so that kids or even full-grown adults, that they have a way so they can hear other Latinos talking about their journey. So in our master classes, the first segment is always, this is my story. So we have, like Fabian Elmar that talks about when he was a gang member in Echo Park, but now he's on the set of actually at the time it was the Hot Cheetos movie that's coming out. And he's on This Fool on Hulu, right? But he talks, the first segment, I was a gang member, right? I have dreamers on there. Their migration stories. I have other people that come from Miami, Colombia, and different. So it's a Latino to Latino thing, right? And the people that are on there, like I got Paul Anthony. He's like the makeup and hair artist to the stars, like J-Lo, Mariah Carey, Rosalind Sanchez. That's who they call as him. So he's teaching a class on hair and makeup and stuff like that, right? And then we have I have others. I have Daniela Tal Lopez. She's from Orange County. She was raised in the hood, the barrio in Orange County. And she's an amazing commercial producer. So you're talking big brands call her and say, okay, we need this commercial to be produced. And so she does that. So she gets bids from all over the place. People say, why is she so organized? Like, she's managed productions all over the world. She's a homegirl from Orange County. I mean, that people need to see that and say, like, okay, if she made it out or he made it out, then I can make it out. So that's why the master classes are there, so that we can train people. So they're very good at introductory courses, details. So we have how to be a first AD, how to write, how to direct, all that kind of stuff. Ken Castillo, Chicano director, he's directed over 7 films already, and he teaches about how to direct a movie and stuff like that. All indie level, all indie level. We're not going to have someone up there say, well, this is how I did Avatar. It's like, okay, that means no one's ever going to do it, right? Even me, I've done some movies before at higher budgets, but I can't do Avatar yet.
Wow.
You know?
It needs to be relatable.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
exactly.
And attainable, right?
Yes, it has to be. So when they cross that bridge and they get broken in, they're like, okay, then they can learn from the Wrigley Scotts or whoever else, you know? So that's what the master classes are for. So all these things are created so that our community can connect and be like, okay, man, if these guys can do it, then I can do it. And to me, that's super important because I think within our community, creativity is like a thing. How many of us have, you know, just sat around with a pencil and just started drawing, you know? Yeah. Music. That's another thing. We're going big on Chicano Hollywood Música. And on our streaming platform, we have, and this started because I was getting artists hit me up all the time like, hey, I just made this new music video. Can you shout it out? It's on YouTube. And I'm like, man, these poor kids are putting their stuff on YouTube, which is cool, but it's like a black hole. I mean, you really got to find it, right?
It's very saturated.
Yeah, very saturated. So we created...
YouTube is a search engine. So if you don't even know the name of the artist or if you're not actively looking for it on YouTube, then there's nowhere to find it.
Exactly. And that's why when I saw this, so I thought, what can we do to help them? So I mean, I'm old school, right? So I remember when MTV started. That's how old I am, audience. So yes, when MTV started, I saw it, right? And you know, it was the whole rocket thing, and the right now it's like a big deal. And then VH1, BET, all those, right? Back in the day, they were just music videos and video jockeys. So if you go to our streaming app, you'll see Chicano Hollywood Música. You'll see a show there called Música, and it's video jockeys and just Chicano music video, Latino music video.
That is awesome.
Same thing. So we just got episode 1 up not too long ago. Now we're going to load up episode 2. And the whole idea with those, it's not so you sit and watch, but like, you know, when someone's getting ready, they're cleaning their house or they're putting their makeup on or whatever, they can put it on and they can hear video jockeys talking. They can hear the music videos, see them if they want to, but it's something to play while they're doing whatever. And those are designed to actually build underneath the Chicano artists, Latino artists, because music is like all across. So it's not, when I say Chicano, I mean everybody, right? So just let me clarify. I mean everybody, but it's so that we can get our artists up where they should be. Especially, I mean, going back to it, Chicano artists, they're not getting signed by major labels. You know, Latino style, but, you know, there's some great artists out there. But when you look at our Chicano guys and girls, it's still a bigger client for them, you know. And so what can we do to help? Well, let's create something so that we can get them out there and make them known and so on. So that's the vision behind that, you know. So all these things are so that we can help our people out, you know. And we have the technology, we have the skills, we can do it. So that's why what's the whole mission, you know.
What's your definition? Because I know you keep saying like Chicanos, right? And then Latinos, and then like what's your definition of a Chicano? Like,
so my direct is me. My parents are from Mexico. I was born and raised here. Right, that's Chicano, Mexican American. But then there's Chicano voice and Chicano culture. Those are others that are not Mexican American, but they're still into street culture, lowriders. You know,
and that's the Chicano voice.
Yeah, that's what Snoop Dogg, right? He likes lowriders. He likes he wears Pendletons, and he likes street tacos, right? So there's a West Coast voice or a Chicano voice, right? A Salvadoran, Guatemalan. They were born here. They were raised next to us. They were all that, you know. So that's the Chicano voice. They're still, you know, you can't tell. We're from the same neighborhood. So that's the voice. That's the culture. There's us that are Mexican American, and then there's the voice. So we are. You know, obviously the Mexican American, that's who I naturally build and so on, but I'm representing the voice. Alongside that, we don't, you know, we're not competing with other Latinos at all. You know, to me, it's like if you're down with this voice, then yes, let's what can we do to help? I get calls from actually from all over the nation. Actually, hey, we want to be a part of what you're doing.
Wow.
And we was mentioning Arizona, so we're going to be launching this is breaking news. On your podcast, on your pod, you heard it here.
You heard it first.
We will be launching
on the Mindbuzz.
Yep, right here on the Mindbuzz on El Grito platform.
With my grito.
With my grito, I say. Okay, my grito. This is a grito. We're going to be launching a Chicano Hollywood Arizona. And it'll be studio based in Phoenix and so on. So there's a group there called the Arizona Audio Stories. We're locking arms with them. They have a great following. They love what we're doing, and they're very, very big into the Chicano community over there. So I'll be going there next week, and just hammering it all out and locking arms. But I'm on the phone with those guys like almost daily. So actually, I was on the phone with them driving up here. So we're going to be doing that. I also have talks going on in El Paso, San Jose, Houston, Austin, and Albuquerque, and San Diego. So that's all you hear to her first. So I'm not making that real. I won't post nothing on this until probably June. But those are the talks we have going on, because we get calls from people that are like, we want to be a part of it because they recognize that we're trying to build each other up, and we will only get to the top if we do it together. The previous generations have shown us that when you try to do it by yourself, you're struggling. And whatever the quote-unquote system is, they're pushing back on them.
Wow.
The gates are locked.
Yeah.
There's a secret code. There's a handshake you got to go through and all that. But to me, I'm like, I don't need the Hollywood system. I was a producer, so I was trying to pitch to all of them, trying to get meetings and all that. And I realized they're not coming after us, and they're not bending over for us. They're not. No. We got to do it ourselves. So we're building a platform for all of us. And when I first talked about the streaming platform, it was not this past December, the one before. I told we're at a mixer. We had about 150 people there, and I said, "Look, we're going to announce that we're going to do a streaming platform." And I showed them a little mock-up, and I said, "What I'm doing this for, so that you can tell your investors, hey, I want to make this movie, and I already have a distribution streaming platform that it's going to go on. And that at least they know, like, okay, at least I'll get some kind of recoupment of my investment money." I said, so I'm going to give you some leverage. So give me time to build it. So that's what we're doing. So it took me a freaking long time to build it. We launched it in October, and right now we're loading it up with content, and it's there. So now between now and September, we're going to start marketing it really heavy so we can get, more people on there. The more people are watching and downloading and telling their friends, all that, the more people are doing that, the bigger our numbers are, the bigger brands want to come and be a part of it, the more money we have to give back to filmmakers and so on, and podcasters or whatever. There's ads dropping in. That's how it works. It's an ecosystem. And within the Latino community, we have the power. I think we have more buying power than France. Think about that.
Wow.
So we have it. We just hasn't been harnessed yet. Outside sources, outside groups have already figured it out. So they're fishing in our pond, and they're looking at us, and we don't realize it, but they're fishing in our pond. They're throwing big nets out and pulling them all in. We have our little fishing pole. So I'm like, no, we're going to build our own net, and we're going to do it. And they're not going to like it, but that's fine. They cannot like us. But within us, Latino, Chicano boys, whoever, we're going to support each other. And if we do this right, it's going to work good. So that's the plan, if that makes sense. I think I answered that question in a really long way. I'm sorry.
That was great.
No, well, that's your mission, right? And obviously, of course, it's working because, when did you start this? Like in 2019, 2020?
2021.
2021. And
March 11, 2021 is when I opened the social accounts, IG and Facebook. We got incorporated August 5th of 2021.
And fast forward just a couple of years, now you have other states getting involved in this. That's wild.
Now we're building this affiliation network, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but yeah. So, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to be like a resource that when our guys want to go to Arizona and make a movie, they have a team there already ready for them to help partner with them and so on. And I want to make it economically a blessing to the people in our affiliate locations. So whatever I can do, like, we have the streaming platform, so we can actually go to small businesses. Hey, we'll make commercials for you. And, you're in San Jose. Okay, go to San Jose. Go to Lucas over there. He'll make your commercial for you. And we can go and help. We can make sure they come out. That's what we do, right? And we can do it all there. And he's able to make some money, too. So I want to be able to get this ecosystem going, so the whole tide is rising with everybody, Right. So Albuquerque, San Jose, San Diego, and what do you call it? El Paso, Phoenix, and Houston is who we're talking to. Austin, those are the ones that we're in talks with still, but Arizona will be the actual first official one that we're gonna say, okay, we are now partnered with Arizona. You know?
And I'm sure you won't have problem finding anyone because I feel like now we're everywhere. I was just having this conversation with Gil yesterday, and we were talking about like the definition of like filling space, right, or making space for yourself. So he was asking me like, what is in context, like what is making space, right? And I feel like now Latinos, Chicanos, we are showing up in jobs, or in places that weren't designed or made for us to be there, right?
Yes.
We only saw a certain type of cookie cutter, person in these jobs, in these fields, and in these places. And it's like we're starting to evolve, and we're starting to, like you said, tap into these things. And,
Yes.
and we're starting to show up, and we're everywhere. We're not just your gardeners or your construction workers or anything.
We're in tech.
We're everywhere.
I have a great content.
Now we have a streaming platform.
Yeah, now we have a streaming platform. Pull it up. Put up ChicanoHollywood.tv. You see it there. ChicanoHollywood.tv. That's the best way to go right now. But we have, like, going back to that, where your point is in San Jose, I have some tech people, all Chicanas, and they're hitting me up, said, how can we be a part of this?
Wow.
So one of the things we want to do is launch a magazine that 50% of the magazine will be entertainment, centered, talking about movies and actors and so on. But the other part, I want to talk about technology, science, stuff like that. So I already have the people that are there saying, hey, we are ready to do this. We're ready to get plugged in. So that's kind of to be, yeah.
Whoa.
So just right there, all those movies, I have them all negotiated already.
Wow.
But I need the money to get them, to license them. But that's some of those I produced down here on the bottom, and so on. But those are the ones that are like iconic movies. Now the vision is to have those on our platform. So I kind of put those up as my little vision board, Nice. But on our streaming platform now, when someone creates an account, they'll see different documentaries, different movies. We just put a pay-per-view up there. So if you like horror movies or comedy, it's called Cholo Zombies. Make sure you do that. It's only $3.99. It helps those filmmakers up. There it is right there. See that? So that one right there, it's $3.99. Watch it. It's a fun movie. These filmmakers are amazing people. They've got, we got several movies up there for them. It helps them. I told them, I said, look, let's put it up there, and I'm not going to make a fee off this. You guys will get 100% of whatever comes in on pay-per-view, because I want them to keep making movies, So we're doing that. I have a couple other movies that we're going to be doing that for. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. Right there, you see those are the Arizona Barrio stories right there. So we have different categories and so on, So it's growing. It's still in its infancy stage, but we've got great content on there, great filmmakers. That one, In Denial, you see that one? That's a psycho-toxic relationship type of story. It's a short film. But any women that are in a toxic relationship, you need to see that movie, because I saw and I got mad, So I was like, what? But yeah, that's a great one. Some of those others, good boxing movies. Guillermo Ivan, he's a homie of mine. He gave me his movies, Then there's some short films on there that these are new Chicano filmmakers. I had one that hit me up and said, hey, do you think my movie will qualify? I'm like, dude, if you got a passion for this, I said, let me see it. I saw it. It was a very low, production value movie. Mm-hmm. But I know what it takes to make these things. So I saw that homie, he got his camera out. He talked to, I think, maybe his dad or two actors, right? And he did different locations, and he got a dog in there, right? Mm-hmm. And he made a cool story, though. It was a nice little twist at the end. So I'm like, of course this qualifies, because I wanted to be able to be a place that filmmakers could be like, oh, it's not just on YouTube. It's on a streaming platform, I've had conversations with people, like I had one not too long ago where, this one, and bless her heart, she's a good person, but she's trying to tell me, like, okay, you need to, elevate it, and no more short films, no more students. And no. I said, I will never do that. And I pushed her back a little bit. She goes, well, what do you mean? You need to, we need to be up there. And I said, nah. She goes, well, Netflix, they only have high quality. I said, no, but they're also the ones that close the doors on us. How are we going to close the door on our own people? No way. And she was a potential investor. So I'm like, look, I don't need your money. I'd rather keep our mission of allowing young filmmakers to come in. And when I say young, I mean novice, new ones, because, I started this when I was old, right? So filmmakers that come in and have a place that they can showcase their work. I tell filmmakers, put at least three things up there, and I'll give you your own genre. It'll say films by and their name or their production company. And it helps them when they're pitching for other projects to investors. They can say, oh, yeah, here's my stuff right here. So that's the whole, this is a tool that our community can use to elevate everybody, you know. So anyways, I've had people tell me, close the doors. I'm not going to close the door. That door will always be open. And, you know, do I want the bigger budget stuff on? Yes. Am I going to produce bigger budget stuff? I am, yeah. So we're going to have both. There'll always be a door. And we are going to elevate ourselves to have even higher quality stuff. You know, I have scripts for like sci-fi and all kinds of stuff. Not always a Cholo movie. I'm always down for Cholo movies, though. Right? Not all right. I've had a '53 Chevy pickup. That's my lowrider of choice. You know? So I'm down for all that stuff. But there's other stories that we can make, and all Chicanos are not Cholos. You know, and there's real estate agents.
It's like that one actor that plays Hector in like 30
Noel
different
G.
movies.
He's awesome, yeah. He's connected to us. He's a great.
Oh, is he really?
Oh, he's a great actor.
What's his name again?
Noel G.
Noel G.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's awesome. Yeah, like him. There's him, Manny Jimenez. There's all the other guys like Paul Rodriguez, George Lopez. All those dudes have been pushing through. Now, Manny and Noel, they were in the '90s. Before them were like Paul Rodriguez. He's a partner of ours. You know, we bought the Latin Kings Comedy, the brand from him.
Oh,
so
really?
He's one of our partners, right? So he's involved. And there's like George Lopez. I mean, there's always tensions between, and I don't get involved in all the Theo drama. I'm like, whatever. I mean, you guys do your thing, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, whatever. I'm going to celebrate everybody. To me, Paul broke a lot of glass walls. George broke a lot of glass walls, glass ceilings, you know, glass ceilings that were holding us back. These guys went in, they broke them down. Now we know we can be, like Paul was the first one that had an actual series, only 6 episodes, but he was first network series. George was like one of the #1 shows on Friday nights, so we all watch that. So to me, whatever that stuff is, that's not my out of my control. I don't care, but I will celebrate anyone that's pushing our voice, and they pushed our voice, so that's so to me, that's like anyone that this platform is designed so that we can have the elevated stuff, plus the new people can come in and put the short film on there. I got to recategorize some stuff, put on the short film or new directors to watch. I'm going to do all that stuff. It takes time. It's on my list. It's on my list.
I mean, that's part of it too, right? I get it. You're going for those bigger ticket production value on the streaming platform, but you're also bringing up the film directors or actors that are trying to get out there and showcase their stuff. So as you're going up, you're pulling the people up with you at the same time.
Yeah, and because I've been on that, I know that if I send someone a YouTube link, they're like, oh, okay, it's on YouTube like everybody else. They put people having their babies on YouTube, right? I mean, everything's on there. Mm-hmm. But if I were to send as a filmmaker, say, well, hey, it's on this streaming platform, and they look it up, oh, it's a real streaming platform, and they see that, oh, how did you get it on this? This is great. Even though all they do is text me, I'm like, all right, bro, I'm down. Stick it up. So, right now the gates wide open. So
we'll text you the link to the Mindbuzz account, so that way we can connect.
Let's get it up. It's already approved. So that's why I was telling the group I was meeting with yesterday. I said, look, guys, I'm the gatekeeper. So the gate's wide open. Let's go. Wow. It's like this is like the border was way before this other wall stuff. Like gate's wide open. Let's go now. Let's go now. So, but yeah, that's how it works. So to me, this is a tool to elevate all of us.
And it's cool because we just went to we had another guest a few weeks ago, and him and a partner of his did an event this Saturday. It was called Oscuro, Gil?
Yeah, Oscuro.
Yeah. And it was all like filmmakers of color, all younger students and people that are in the industry, and they made short films, and I couldn't believe they were amazing, and they were just like films that we can relate to. And a lot of these films, they have to submit them into competitions and things like that for them just to get seen. And it's like there's a lot.
That's the normal route. Is where you a filmmaker would scrape together whatever they can, get some money behind it.
So what's the process for that?
So the normal route, someone has an idea. Let's say a young filmmaker doesn't know what they're doing, right? So they have this passion, so they get a script written. Let's say if it's a short film or a documentary or maybe a feature, they make the movie. Now, that's a process right there. That's a beast. You're trying to get actors in there, good ones. They're trying to get locations. They're trying to feed them, all that stuff, right? But at the end, you get a movie. So now you have a movie. What are you going to do with that? How are you going to try to make some money back or get it out there? The traditional route has always been film festivals, right? So back in the day, there was only like 5 solid film festivals. And if you got into one of those, boom, your movie's going to sell and it's going to do well. Now there's probably like 5,000 film festivals. And I'm guessing I'm exaggerating that number, but maybe 1,000. But all over the world, here in the U.S. as well, there's film festivals. Everyone's having one. And because of that, you can run your content through that, and it's a fun thing to do because you go to these festivals, you get up there and you answer questions. It's a fun little thing to do for filmmakers. But the chances of you actually selling your film is almost minimal. I was reading something today, and it's saying that how movies that, because of the old system, people still try to do that. They're not recouping any of their money anymore. So there's a new system that we have to figure out. So that's what I'm doing. Everything that I was reading, that whole article, I'm like, okay, we got that. Okay, we got that. We got that. And that's what we're building. They're talking about how you have to aggregate an audience together. So we have 50,000 followers that follow Chicano Hollywood. That's our audience right there. Now we're growing. The goal is to get that to 5 million, right? And then you have to have a place for your film to go that people can watch it around the world. So we have a streaming platform, right? And you have to have, people to help you market it. Well, we have a network of influencers that we can tap into, say, hey, here's a little some, push this movie out for us. And they'll do that. So we have familia that are influencers that will do all that. So we're creating this system so that our people can make a movie. And it's like, okay, this is cool. Let's get it out there. There will be a point where we actually can do theatrical releases. That's a hard one because when you get a movie, you put it in the movie theater. You're making, if the negotiation is good, you're going to make half the ticket sales. But then you got to get people to buy tickets. And that's the hard part. So for every movie, for every screen that your movie is going to be on, you're looking at least 10 to 15,000 that just goes into marketing to get people there to see it. So a guy makes a movie for, let's say, $1 million. He has to figure out another 3 or 4 million just to get it out there. And that movie better be good. So that's why movies don't go to the theater. It used to be back in the day that a distributor picks it up and they say, okay, we love this movie. We'll take it from here and we're going to get it out to all our theaters, right? So they get it out there to 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000 theaters, depending on how big they are, right? But then they figure out ways how to make sure you don't get your money back. They get super creative. They'll be like, oh, we have these fees and this marketing, blah, blah, blah. So the filmmaker, pretty much once they surrender it to a big distributor, they're not going to see anything. So we always tell people, and I told someone today, put yourself on the budget because that's all the money you're going to make. I said, if you think you're going to make money on the back end, you're not. Just put yourself in the budget. That's your money. And be happy that your movie got produced. And I tell them, I say, you're not a golden egg. You're the goose. You know that old nursery rhyme, the goose and laid the golden eggs? I tell our filmmakers, I said, you are the goose, not the golden egg. So don't get caught up on one golden egg. Get it out there. Let the world see it. Get your resume. Become a produced director or produced writer. Give it away because that's your win is you are now a produced writer or director. Like in my case, I produced a movie a couple years ago and it had a theatrical release in Mexico. It had a theatrical release in Poland and other places. From what I understand, they made all their money back. But I'm a producer that has had theatrical release. That's a notch up. So that's a quality that I'm at. Like Chato with Oat Milk, when that finally comes out, that's a movie that I made, the first one that I was talking about. When that comes out, then I will be a producer writer. And I told Jeff Ray, the producer of that movie, when he asked me to write, I said, if you promise me to produce it, I'll do it for free. Now, he still paid me a little bit, but I did it for super low because I wanted to become a produced writer. So, because I know I'm not the golden egg, I'm just a goose. I have all kinds of golden eggs in me. Mm-hmm. I have all kinds of stories, so I just need to build my resume. So that's what filmmakers have to realize. So don't get caught up in one, this is my script, and I'm going to make millions of dollars. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Get real here, and I'll show you how to be real. But just get it out there and let people see it. You get your notch up, and then you'll do the next one. And then there's going to be a point where now people are coming to you because you have 3 or 4 movies that have been out there and all their money came back. Investors are happy. So now you're a go-to person in Hollywood because they know that if you write something, if you direct something, if you produce something, the risk is minimal or less. It's always risky, but the risk is less. So that's how. So the process is very intense. It's not for the weak, it's very expensive. That's why we haven't been able to get into it, because it's a rich man's game. What's different now is technology. Look at you guys here. Look at these cool cameras. We can make a movie with this stuff you have here. Look at the stuff you have, right? We can make a movie with this, and all of this, get some actors, and we put them in here, and let's say this is an interrogation room, and you're the cop, and I'm the bad guy, and we could just do a whole scene here, right?
All right, you're hired.
Yeah, but you see how this is, or we can have you. He's a psycho. He kidnapped you, and you're tied up in here, right? But with just your gear here, we can do it. So technology has leveled the playing field, and now that I have this streaming platform now, and I say now that Chicano Hollywood has a streaming platform, we've leveled it even more. And that's the goal. So now, to me, it's like freaking the gates wide open, run. Get in there now. Get in there. I'm not saying it's going to close. I'm going to try not to make it close. But now's the time for artists, directors, writers, music, even small businesses. Now is the time to run. Now is the time to get into it. Get in the game right now. It's Chicano Renaissance time. It's our season, our time. The next 20, 30 years are going to be amazing for us. But only for those that put the work in.
When did you see a change in that? Like, now, what was it before the Chicano? You're saying that right now we are in a Chicano
Renaissance.
Chicano Renaissance.
Yeah.
What was it before? And where did the change come from?
Yeah. Before it was the lack of representation. It's always been that way, right? Now, if we go back even more, you see guys, the old school, Anthony Quinn, Antonio Quiñones. Anthony Quinn was an A-list actor in Hollywood, right? Who else? Ricky Ricardo. Well, he didn't change his name, but some of these others that were Mexican or they were Latino or something, they had to change their names and so on. There's others like I'm missing, but there's other names that they switched to, right? Just so they can get hired more, right? So that's evolved over the course of time, and more, not a whole lot, but a little bit more content's going up. You have Chico and the Man. That was an old.
That's Freddie Prinze, right?
Yeah. So people started seeing Chips with Eric Estrada.
Mm-hmm.
People started seeing us. We did something with Eric Estrada one time, and he was telling us the whole backstory, how they wanted to make that character Italian. They said, America's not ready for a Hispanic in this lead role. He fought them, though. He said, no. So they finally settled on Pancharello because he wanted to make him more Italian, right? So back in the day when producers would make a movie or a TV show, they had one test. Will the people, and I think Paul Rodriguez told me this, the people in Peoria, Indiana, I think it's Peoria, Indiana or Peoria, Indiana, somewhere out in the Midwest, will they watch this show? So they're going to a Midwest white family, and will they watch it? That was the test. And if they wouldn't watch that show, then they wouldn't do it. The extremists would come out with, like the Jeffersons, an all-black show, Good Times, So they were popping here and there, and then they were becoming successful. So because they're becoming successful, like, okay, we can probably test a little bit more. So it's evolved little by little. But it was still, even when I got here, you're still struggling. We weren't actors, we were characters. And when I would get a submission because I was Hispanic, they wanted, do you speak Spanish? And in my case, do you look Spanish? And I'm like, I look white, I look like the Chicano Guillermo del Toro, but he's Mexican, right? That's what people tell me. But and so I wouldn't even get roles. I'd have to go for the Italian roles. I have to go for even the white roles, or a cop or detective. So it still wasn't for us. But because of the population becoming more and more Hispanic, and we are becoming more educated, we're becoming more sophisticated. Now they're not asking, will this show work in Peoria, Illinois anymore? They're asking, will this work in LA? Will this work in Miami? Will this work in this? And so now the audience is different. So because we're a sophisticated audience. But up until where did I see it was on the set of Horchata with Oat Milk. When I saw the people on that set, all of them were skilled people. And they've all of us at that time had done stuff on other projects that were big. And I'm like, man, look at this. We could do whatever we want. We can make stories. We have ideas. We have concepts. We're screenwriters. We're producers, directors. We're DPs. We're talent. We have it here. And I saw the synergy that was happening within us. And I said, we're coming into something. And now when you look at the stats, the population growth and so on, and if you get into the dirty details of it, white people have less kids. So because they're having that 1.1 kid or something like that. Latinos having 4 point something kids or 3.8 kids, something like that. Mm-hmm. We're outgrowing
5.5. If it's my family.
Yeah, I know mine. So we have more kids. So our voice, our culture, our community is growing. You have the Black community too; they're growing. But both those, they're not having enough kids. We still have a lot of kids. We still have 3. Like I have 3, and I came from a family of 5. So we still have a lot of kids. So because of that, what does that mean? When they're adults, they're the audience. They're the ones that are buying tickets.
So it's the audience that's changing.
The audience is growing. The audience is sophisticated. Yeah,
it's changing. Yeah. It's growing.
And we want, we want to see ourselves. People get over dramatic about it, in my opinion. Don't get mad at me. Mm-hmm. Where they get over like, first time I saw that, I felt validated. Whatever. I saw the Brady Bunch. I wanted Mike Brady to be my dad. He's a white dude. So
yeah.
I mean, I was raised with one. Como se said, the Three's Company and Happy Days, and
Cheers.
So yeah,
Family Matters
Cheers.
for me.
Oh yeah, Family Matters. Oh, Cheers was my show. I love Sam. So I mean, we did for my generation, Gen X. It wasn't all that emotional, but I do see that. It is important. Like 2 nights ago, we watched a movie on Netflix with my daughter and my wife, and it's called Praise, produced by Tim Story, and Praise, something like that. And it was all Black cast, all Black. Not one other person in just all Black cast. Great movie. What was interesting, though, an observation was there was no character actors. They're different characters. If it would have been traditionally an all-white cast with one Black actor or one Hispanic actor, that would have been a character. So we need you, because you're Black, to act Black. And we need you, because you're Hispanic, act Hispanic. But when you have a cast of all Blacks, your character, you're kind of nerdy, blah, 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 or you're kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So they were able to be what we are, regular people, in regular roles without having to be brown or be Black or be Asian. So all that is changing now. So we are going to create our stories and our voice with our faces. And we don't have to be gang members. And I'm down with the gang members. We don't have to be cholos. We don't have to be lowriders. I'm down with all that. Yeah. But we could be regular people. And that's what I think the audiences today want to see. They don't want to see themselves as characters anymore. Unless it's funny. And I'm down with the funny stuff, So, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So what's evolving? So now I saw on the setup or Chocolate Oat Milk, as I saw the momentum growing with Chicano Hollywood, I realized we are in the beginning of something huge. And we need to, I've had people tell me, you guys are leading this. I said, no, we're not leading anything. It's just our time for everybody.
It's happening now.
It's happening now. People, you guys, look at you. You started this podcast. What the heck made you think about even getting into this? You're living out here in the Inland Empire. You should be working in a warehouse like everybody else does, right? But there was something deep inside of you that said, no, I want to get my voice out there.
Right.
And boom, look at this. You have something awesome,
Yeah. And I was stuck in an office for 6 years.
Oh, see that?
Until I made this
jump
part-time to full-time now.
Wow. And that's why, because there's something inside of you. So I think that there's something in all of us. And I'm a big faith guy, right? I mean, I was a pastor. So I believe God's calling us to this and to elevate our voice. He loves our community. So he wants us to grow. And he gave us all gifts. And the worst thing in the world is for a child to have a gift and never open it. For a parent to say, I gave you that, and they never open it. You know how frustrating that would be for me as a dad? Like, man, I gave you that gift, mija, and she never opens it.
What's that quote in The Bronx Tale where the saddest thing in life is wasted talent?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's happened if you go to our cemeteries. It's loaded with so many gifts that have never been opened.
Wow.
And that's where it's like, this generation now, we got to do it. You got to open it up. Even people my age, I don't care what you've done. If you're ready to retire, a lot of my peers are retired. I'm like, I wish I could retire, right? But I'm not there, right? I got a long to go. But a lot of my peers are retiring. But well, you know what they're doing? They're hitting me up, man. It's crazy you're doing all that. How'd you get into that? I'm like, dude, I'll show you. Let's do it. You know? You got money, invest. So
You're like, you can take my master class.
yeah, take my master classes, you know. So I think there's something inside of us that we need to create, tell our stories, whether you're behind the camera or you are writing it or whatever it might be. But now is the time because it's almost something divine that's like, okay, we have to get our voice out there and take our place. It's like a calling. That's what I describe. It's like a calling. How do you know? So look at where you're at. Super awesome.
Yeah. I wake up every morning and I can't believe it.
Isn't that weird?
I can't believe I'm sitting in front of Johnny Murillo.
Ah, hey, boy, how's the rest of your life going? Because that's not that good, you know. But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, think about it. I mean, Gil, you guys here, you're freaking killing it. And now that you partner with a bigger platform, your voice can be heard around the world.
Shout out my grito.
Shout out my grito. My grito. And think about it. You're around the world. That's where you guys are right now. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Thank you. No. I was gonna say, like, I think it's awesome. Awesome what you're doing and everything. Like, it's cool. And you know, something for me where you were saying, like, you know, like people say like, oh, I saw someone on TV and they look like me and everything. And I get that, right? Mm-hmm. But you know what gets me is to know, like, just even like with Chicano Hollywood, to know that they're not only are we being represented on TV, but we're being represented by us, by people who are creating these things, right? Because I feel like, yes, the Renaissance is happening too, but it's also, it's kind of, I know it's going to sound funny, but it's cool to be Latino or to be Mexican or to, right? And we have all these restaurants opening, these things opening, these, you know, all these things that are Latino centered or Mexican centered. Yes. And the worst thing that not worse, I guess I shouldn't be so dramatic, but it kind of hurts me when I find out that behind all that is not someone of the culture or someone that, you know, like it just kind of like
Taco Bell
bumps me out a little. Oh yeah, like Taco Bell a little. So I think, I mean, it's amazing that you guys get to represent us and in the real form, in the purest form, right? Because it's like,
Chicano Hollywood is ran by Chicanos.
Ran by Chicanos. Chicano Voice.
Right.
We have
Chicano Voice.
Salvadoran, Colombian. We got the whole team is everybody, but Chicano Voice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, me, I'm puro Chicano, bro. I mean, it just doesn't get any more. You know. So, but yeah, exactly. And you know, I reference Taco Bell, though I'm always down for Mexican pizza, right?
I'm like, I love Taco
Bell. But
we just had Taco Bell earlier.
I just drove through it earlier, so I'm down with it. But that's a great point because, like, wait, it's a corporation, and there's Latinos that work.
Did you read the bag somewhere? Did I leave a bag in here in the studio?
It smells like Taco Bell.
Remember the little Chihuahua? Yo quiero Taco Bell. I thought that was funny, right? Today's generation might be like, oh, that's so offensive. Like, no, I thought it was funny. My neighbor had Chihuahuas, so they'll remind me of them. So, but you're right, though. It's us driving this boat. And when I say us, I'm not talking about me or my team. I'm talking us. We're driving this. So it's not like we're on the bus and have to get in the back. Yeah. You know? People don't know this, but in Texas, they had all those same segregation rules that they had in the South against the blacks. They had them in Texas against the Hispanics, the Mexicans, right? And no Mexicans here, a white drinking fountain, all that. So all that discrimination was in our community as well. California, we had it. We had it easy here. It wasn't that bad. We did have racism. We did have all that, but it wasn't like that bad. You know, we didn't have to do different water and all that. I mean, I never heard the word spick until I was in junior high, and some bunch of stoners threw me against the wall and started pounding on me. And I'm like, what? I came from a Washington Elementary School in San Jose, all Mexicanos. And then I go to Markham Junior High, all white people because of the busing thing, right? It was a busing thing. It was a thing that happened back then. So now I'm surrounded by white people, and there's like only a handful of homies. My brother was one of them, and I'm, you know, the term now is being bullied, but these dudes were, you know, causing stuff and calling me a spick and a beaner, and I had no idea what that was, right? threw me against the wall.
What grade was this for you?
7th grade. You're talking a few months ago.
Whoa.
I'm having recess and playing marbles, and now a couple months later, I'm like thrown against the wall.
And this is the first time you've experienced this?
First time I experienced it. These dudes in puppy jackets with stoner boots. They were in 9th grade. I was in 7th grade. And like, hey, spig. And they threw me against the wall. And I froze. And it wasn't for my brother and the homies that came around them. They got into a big fight right there. I remember I dropped to the ground. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Did it shake me? It was a trip. But then my brother said, get up, dude. This is the way it is. So then what do? We fought those guys. And we know what? In high school, those same dudes, we're working together on cars. I had a low rider, they had high riders, and I actually on my high school, I was probably the best one in use about cars. So they come to me, hey, Johnny, can you help me do this? And I'm like, this is that same fool that threw me against the wall. Yeah, bro, let's go. So, we became friends. We grew out of it, and everything's cool. And so I went to Willow Glen High School, and I was, the shop. I was a shop assistant and all that. And we were in shop all the time working on our cars. And we found things in common, and it worked out. So there is racism. There are things like that. But you have to make the choice to mature. And you have to make the choice to forgive and move past it. And I could tell that story over and over again and cause this drama, or I could tell the truth about it. Say, we all became friends after because we grew up. Yeah. And that's the truth about it. We found something in common. Cars. They had their hot rods and their high rises, and I was a low rider, and my friends were low riders. But cars, when they asked me to come and tune their engine up and all that stuff, it was us working together, changing their brakes and all that stuff. And we all worked together, So there's common ground we can find with everybody. Black, brown, white, Asian, doesn't matter. Yeah. So it's just a decision to be mature about it and grow past it.
And especially with the arts, bringing people together between, around the world, throughout different cultures, food, music, film, projects.
Think about we have a following in Japan. Japanese love Chicano.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do.
And I'm going to tap into those homies. I'm gonna say, once I get the merch going, hey, merch. It probably started over there. Now we're selling it back to you.
Do you remember the city that I think, so we visited Tokyo a few months back.
Oh, nice.
And we were going to actually go to a taco spot that was out there. But I believe the city or the state, it was maybe a 4 to 5 hour drive out from Tokyo. So we weren't able to go over there, but we were watching videos on YouTube and TikTok.
I've seen some but there's a guy that has a taco truck there. Here and and then you got these dudes that they're probably tech people and they're lawyers and all that, but they love to dress like their homies.
And they dress like it too.
Yeah, and lowriders. Yeah,
my dad, mid 2000, he rebuilt a Mustang, and he took it to a car show one day here in Pomona, and Japanese. So they send one guy, and he scopes the entire thing, takes pictures, sends it back home, and they bought the car cash right on the spot, and it got sent to Japan.
Yeah, think about that. Now people trip on the whole cultural appropriation thing. To me, it's like, dude, if our people are making money, then sell them your lowriders, sell them your, sell them whatever they want to buy, sell them your sarape. I mean, to me, if our people, if it's contributing to put some pan and some carne asada on the table, then let our people sell it.
Right. And then too, they're celebrating it because they like it. They're not pushing it down. They're not.
They're not hanging it out on a tree. They're not spray painting. They're
celebrating it and because they like it.
And what greater honor is that? I mean, think about the Chicano boys. We just had a fashion show. And Elvira, she does her Instagram is Wardrobe Divas, and she came to me in November and said, Johnny, we got to do something to kind of elevate our voice, right? We don't want to be all ratchet all the time, right? I'll try all ratchet, right? And I'm like, okay, you got a point because I'm always ratchet, right? This is probably the best dressed up I get, right? And she goes, and she's into fashion, right? She's a designer, all that. She goes, can we do a fashion show? And we'll if you can partner with me and run it through and promote. I'm like, we'll make it a Chicano Hollywood thing. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So it was called Chicano Elegance. It was at this really nice venue in LA, right by Dodger Stadium, really beautiful. And it was in February, and we didn't know how this is going to work, right? And it's all set up. Tickets were. It took a while for tickets to finally sell. Then we finally sold out, so it's good. She's going to make the budget. All that stuff was great. The event comes. It was freaking awesome. We had 7 designers show their stuff. It was my first fashion show, so I'm looking at that stuff like, who's going to buy that? It's like some crazy stuff. And my wife's like, Well, it's like art. They're coming out with their art. Oh, so they're like coming out with the Mona Lisa. No one's gonna buy it, but check it out, right? So they're coming out with some stuff, and then some had streetwear stuff. So it was cool. But we had 7 designers, all these models, and really cool crowd, and cameras and paparazzis and the whole thing. We had music, jazz music. We had wine people coming from, these were Latino wine growers from Napa Valley that came down. It was really, really cool, right? After we had it, all the social media went up. The next day, Elvira is getting hit up on Instagram and on email saying that she got hit up from Dubai, from London, from Milan, from Sydney, and New York saying, we saw your fashion show, bring it to our cities. And I told her, I said, you put the Chicano voice all over the world in the fashion space. So think about that. You have these fashion people saying, we want to see that Chicano show over there. And I think that's freaking amazing. From farm workers to fashion in Milan. And we still got to get there. It takes money. But we're going to do another one coming up. But even to have the invitation to go and get in their shows. So that's where we're at. That's why I say there is a renaissance in arts, fashion, in entertainment, in business, tequilas. I know of 4 or 5 different Chicano tequilas and mezcals that are all popping out now, and they are Chicano. They have that brand, they have that voice. That's who the owners are. So even in the spirit space, I mean, there is a renaissance happening. The podcast space, I mean, that's a given. You guys are there in the middle of that. Yeah. Coffee's another one, but yeah, exactly. We're not just getting Nescafe, with our, like my grandma would get, right? Or Folgers. We're coffee people. We're grinding. I'm a coffee snob. So yeah, I love a good coffee. So anyways, that's why we're there. We're there. So if your audience has something inside of them, now is the time. Take the risk, invest in yourself, and just start doing it. It's going to be hard. You're going to lose and you're going to win. But if you keep going and be consistent, it's going to be a great journey. So that's my advice to this. So
thanks for coming out and doing this.
Thank you. I had fun.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out, dude.
It confirms again.
Thank you. So go ahead and share what you got coming up.
Yeah. So my name is Johnny Murillo. I'm with Chicano Hollywood. I'm the founder. And follow us on Instagram. All you got to do is put in Chicano Hollywood. You'll see us there. Follow us on TikTok. All you got to do is put in Chicano Hollywood. You'll see us there. Follow us on YouTube. There's not a whole lot there right now. But anyways, subscribe on YouTube. I got to build that up. Follow us on Facebook. El Facebook. Tell your grandma. Follow us on El Facebook. Chicano Hollywood. And we have a lot happening. We have some different docuseries that we're in production on. And the number one thing that you can do for me is download our streaming app. Go to your app store, download Chicano Hollywood. Tell your family, your primos, watch everything on there. Let those ads drop in, and you'll see everything we're doing. So thank you so much for this time. Chicano Hollywood, we're building an ecosystem so that we can all benefit from this.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's awesome.
That's the web. See that movie, The Pope's Exorcist?
Ooh.
Go-goy.
I'm going to watch something tonight.
We are. We're going to download everything and check everything out.
Oh, check out.
I downloaded it on my phone already.
Cholo Zombie.
Oh, we got to check that one out for sure.
Yeah, get Cholo Zombie. See that one, that family right there?
Oh, yeah. I follow them on
yeah, so we're doing a docuseries with them. They're so cute. They're so cute. Yeah, and they got followers all over the world. Wow. So we're doing a docuseries with those guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, look at that guy. Whatever, Christian. That's an action series that we're putting together. That's Joe Chacon. We just had a stunt class, and we taught a group of Chicano actors and stunt people that just want to do stunts, and it was amazing. That's Jessica Flores. That's our show called Chicano 2.0, and we interview different Chicano artists, and that's Gigi. That's all these guys. So these are the ones I'm saying we have to build a platform.
The Mindbuzz Podcast.
Johnny, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me how we can get involved and help out.
Dude, well, if you want to put your podcast on, I mean, approved.